you have over 2,000 videos uploaded to your YouTube channel. You have 152,000 subscribers. All of that is from unedited content shot on your smartphone.
I grabbed my camera, which was my used iPhone 6 that I bought for $100. I went down to my car and I recorded an introductory video to The Uneducated Economist. And that was the day The Uneducated Economist was born.
And I love the dynamic of your type of content. Anyone can do it. Most people have smartphones. Most people have cars.
Oh yeah. I didn't really care about the outcome. It was the energy that I was putting into the video to begin with. And I think that's the reason why the channel did so well.
You represent the majority in that you did this while you had a job or while you have a job, where somebody would say, I'm too busy to create content, or I'm too busy to start that YouTube channel. How did you find the time?
I do find that most of the time people get caught up in like...
So I have with me Simon Carone, who has started a YouTube channel how many years ago?
November of 2017.
November of 2017. I just looked, you have over 2,000 videos uploaded to your YouTube channel. You have 152,000 subscribers. And just from the front, all of that is from pretty much unedited content shot on your smartphone.
Yep.
And you just unlocked a lot. Okay, because the reality is, like, a lot of people who know that they should be creating content, they are stuck because they think maybe it's a perfectionism, they don't know how to show up. I just want to kind of like unpack your thought process in your journey. I guess we could start with, why did you feel like YouTube was a place you can share your ideas and your insight?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you the story on how it really started, because it started on a single day. And I was at work, I was talking economics. It's my hobby and something I enjoy doing. And I had one of the coworkers come up to me. I work at a lumber yard, and she was a real tall, blonde girl, farm girl kind of type. She puts her fist on my desk. She says, "Listen, bro, you're going to have to start a blog or a YouTube channel or something, because nobody here understands anything you're talking about, and you are driving us crazy." And I went, "Oh, right, Brittany. Okay, I hear you." So I grabbed my camera, which was my used iPhone 6 that I bought for $100. I went down to my car and I recorded an introductory video to The Uneducated Economist. I went back in to work, used the work's Wi-Fi to upload that video to YouTube. And that was the day The Uneducated Economist was born.
Wow.
I started posting videos just about articles or things that I was seeing within the news that I was thinking it was important. And I noticed that nobody was watching my channel. So I took a very, this is my journal kind of attitude towards it.
I love that.
So I was like, I'm just going to post some of my thoughts and ideas and things that I'm seeing within the economy. And I'm going to post some links down in the description so I can go back and find it. And I just considered it that, my own personal journal. And people really started catching on and really enjoying some of the topics that I was talking about, incorporating my lumber understanding, being in the building supply industry, and then my macroeconomics understanding, and putting these two together, working class point of view, really started relating with a lot of people, and the channel just started taking off. So
good. Do you mind sharing how old you were at that time?
Well, I'm 48 now, so I had just
You're over 40.
Yeah, I'm over 40. I'm 48. So I started the channel 7 years ago. So I was like, just 42 years old. Crazy. Or so, 41, 42.
Because I think there's a misconception that posting videos online is for the young people.
Yeah, I could kind of see that. There's a lot of content is made by young people. Yeah.
But I love that you took something that you already were interested in. And I think your light bulb moment that came from having conversations to create the content came from conversations you were already having.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, you're already talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
So you would fall under the category of just like literally turning on a camera and just having the conversation to a camera. How did you get comfortable talking to just your phone inside of a car?
Oh, yeah. Well, I had been doing videos before that. Okay. So I had been making like just kind of that nobody watched, I mean, I'd put out a video and I'd get 10 views on it or something like that. And it was fun to edit. Like, I'd set up cameras from all kind of angles and stuff. And then I have already been kind of in the entertainment scene, I guess, where I would do weekend bingo calling down at the local tavern. And it's very like crowd interactive, lots of stand-up jokes and stuff like that are going on within it. But it's just a bingo game. But being out there entertaining every single week, standing in front of people and communicating in that fashion wasn't really uncomfortable to put on a camera and then turn that on and keep going.
Cool.
So it was like I've had already exposed myself to being like kind of on stage, so to speak. You know?
Yeah,
So.
that's good. And I love the dynamic of your type of content. And like, I think it's just like kind of like anyone can do it.
Oh yeah.
Because most people have smartphones, most people have cars, but it's also how it feels.
That's
It
right.
feels like I'm just in the car with you, which is powerful on a consumption and trust building standpoint.
Oh, absolutely. You know, somebody told me one time, I was like, dude, you really broke down the barriers, you know? And I'm like, wait a minute, there was barriers? I didn't know that, you know? And if you don't know there's any barriers, you didn't know that you had to pass them or,
So good.
get over them or anything like that. Like
Yeah.
if you just didn't know that they were there, I was just like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to break any barriers. You know? It was like, so everything that I was doing, I just really, it was almost like I didn't care. Right. Like I cared about the video. I cared about the content. I cared about what people would say, but I didn't really care about the outcome. Like, really, you know, if it made money, if it didn't, if it took off or whatever, you know, it was like, to me, that part wasn't important. It was the energy that I was putting into the video to begin with. Like if I tried to put videos out that were going to get attention, that were going to make money, that were going to do a particular thing, then it probably wouldn't have happened. I wasn't putting out videos going to do anything other than put out the information for my own personal journal. That was it. Like that, outside of anything else, whatever, you know, really it was like, I didn't think about it.
Yep.
And I think that's the reason why the channel did so well. If you had put energy into it in any other reason, like if you're chasing a particular outcome with it, you're probably not going to get it. It's just like nothing ever comes the way you think it's going to.
Right.
And in fact, most of the stuff that I have experienced here now that I've got the YouTube channel up and running were things that came out of nowhere. Like I didn't go for them. I didn't ask for them. They were just showing up. And now here's this option. Here's this thing that you could do if you are going to say yes and pursue it, you know? And so it's like, wow, I didn't even know these things existed out here. Right? But it was, again, I wasn't trying to pursue it. It was just showing up. And that's the, you know, I just go with it. Just let the free energy be, you know, so to speak. You know?
So like, you're not taking on necessarily the role of the expert, but you are sharing opinions. Would you say internal voice maybe, or what have you, as far as feeling comfortable sharing your opinions about something out there in culture?
Yeah. It is a little difficult to think that my theories that I'm sharing on my YouTube channel seem to be very unique to me. And so now here I am in this space of macroeconomic professionals out there who really know what they're doing. They, you know, rental properties, they've mass acquired and, you know, all these investments that people have done. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty incredible. But, you know, you guys kind of see the economy the wrong way. And so here's this dude, working class citizen, not really proved anything in life and saying, hey, I got a whole different way of looking at this. And I'm just going to go ahead and present it. And I don't really care if you like it or not. You know, it's just like, because I don't see it any other way and I can't make it up any differently than the way I see it. So, you know, whether you like it or not, it's just is what's coming. And so I don't feel like nervous about presenting my information. I believe it. Like I believe it inside. This is not something I'm making up or hoping that somebody else is going to, you know, say, yeah, you're right or wrong on. I mean, that doesn't have anything to do with it. This is what I know is what's real. So for me, putting out the information is just, it's easy. It's just, it feels like it's just flowing through me. I don't really think about what it is. It's just is, you know.
That's really good. And you have, I think you represent the majority in that you did this while you had a job or while you have a job.
Still do, yeah.
And you still do. And so where somebody would say, I'm too busy to create content, or I'm too busy to start that YouTube channel, you just you made the time to do it. Yeah. How did you find the time to, I guess, I mean, I know, because I know that's a barrier.
Absolutely.
But you just pulled up to work early, or you stay at work late, or?
Yeah. Most of the work for a video that you don't edit is 10 minutes. Right? Yeah. It's a 10-minute video. I mean, my live streams sometimes go for a half hour, 45 minutes, even longer, even go into hours. But I'll set aside the time for those. But ultimately, how long does it take to hit record and record a video? 10 minutes, right? That's all you really need to do. So this can be done in the first 10 minutes of your lunch break, 10 minutes before work, 10 minutes right after work, 10 minutes, you know, before you go to bed even. I mean, there's 10 minutes in your day all over the place that you can go and do the video. Now, I think the problem with most people would be, what am I going to do a video on?
Yeah.
Right. And that's really where I think like most of the time people get caught up in like, what do I do this video? It's got to be perfect. I got to have this lighting. I got it. And then it's pretty soon it's just like, well, now you're going to be doing it next week or the week after because you got all these things you got to do.
Yep.
And so that's really where I found like me, I didn't want to put that much time and effort into creating my journal. Right. Because that's all it was to me was my journal. So I was just like, I'm going to hit record. I'm going to do this video. And I started doing videos so that I wouldn't hit stop and start the video again. Because that's what I found I started doing. Like I would be doing 30 takes, and I'm like, nah, this is the same as editing. We're going live and we're going to start doing live videos from now on. So that way it's got to come out.
Yeah. So you went from a little bit of edited video to then just uploading a recorded video unedited, just trimming the fluff at the front and maybe the end. And then you chosen to just go live because it just removed one full step completely.
Absolutely. I didn't even have to upload the video. It just automatically did it. It was like one less step for me actually. Yeah. So
have you seen any noticeable benefits from literally just going live?
Well, because of YouTube and the platform, you get the super chats. So when you're interacting in a live stream with the comment section, then, a lot of times you'll get tips from people who are looking to get a question answered or just support the channel or something. Really? So I see where that actually helped out quite a bit going live. But I believe that my shorter 10-minute videos or 15-minute videos were more popular. And again, I think it's because of like something you had said on stage earlier, condensing that information into a short amount of time to save them time. Right? Yeah. Where I think my longer videos have become more entertainment. People will put it on and go and do housework or something. Sure. Just listen to me talk in the background. I don't know if those are the same.
Well, one's going deep, the other one's going wide.
Right. Yeah. And so trying to find this balance between the two of them has been a little difficult, but still, again, I'm not trying to pursue anything with it. So I'm just having fun, enjoying what it is I'm doing. And hopefully that energy comes out in the videos and live streams. I look up and I'm like, holy moly, guys, I've been going at it for 2 hours. I'm sorry. It's just like, I didn't even realize we had gone this long.
Wow.
So when you're doing something like that and it's flowing like that, you're in it, you're in the right energy. So.
Really cool. And like, I think, cause I'm just thinking about the person, like, I think most people should just try it out and like, not to say it's going to always work, but I love that you remove yourself from the outcome. You mentioned that you made like what you said, 40 grand last year from
about
40 grand in YouTube AdSense, which 40 grand to talk about stuff you enjoy talking about anyway. It's pretty sweet.
Pretty sweet deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you not run out of content?
Oh, well, with economics, there's endless amounts of it, especially when you start throwing opinions in, and the what ifs that could possibly come from it. It's just like, it could just go on and on and on. I do find that I have repeated myself quite a bit with the content. Like I will rehash the exact same information again, but I will bring it up to date to more current events. Like some things that are happening today can then, use some of the information from the past to then be used again. So to me, it's just like, it's more of like the theory that I have developed within economics and then showing how that theory is playing out pretty regularly, how people can incorporate it into their lives. So to me, like the content about it is almost like endless. Yeah. Like I could like literally turn on a camera and just go from now on, and just like, here, let's fire up an article. Okay, let's talk about that for a half an hour. Yeah. Let's like, whatever.
It's really good.
So to me, it's like, I don't feel content is like limited. I think content is endless. It's just like ungodly amount of it out there that you could go for.
Yeah. I think just people need to find that thing for them. Like, because I love that. I like your source is the economy. And as long as we're breathing and money's being exchanged and things are happening in politics and and then it even gets even crazier.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know what to talk about. You would probably say, just talk about something out there. Yeah.
I have a friend. I don't want to say her name, but when she first met me, she was like, oh, you got it going on. This is exactly the kind of thing that I want to have going on in my life. And I'm like, great. What is your profession? What do you do? And she told me what her profession is. Like, okay, great. Start teaching lessons on that, do a little tutorial on how that operation works and all that other stuff. And she's like, I don't want to do it on that. I'm like, but that's what you're good at. That's what you'll get the attention. She was like, I want to do it on all these other things. And I'm like, okay, well then do it. You know, and it was just like, get out there and make your first video and tell the story and, you know, put it up there. Of course, immediately limited. I don't have a stand. I don't have lighting. I don't have. And I'm like, but you do. You have the phone and you have YouTube and just put the video up there. You're not going to like it. Like we all know we don't like the first video. Yeah. Oh, nobody likes their first video. It sucks. Everybody hates them, right? But the thing is that first video is going to tell you what you did like about it and what you don't like about it. So the next video is going to have a lot less of what you don't like and a lot more of what you do like. And then pretty soon your videos are going to start becoming a lot more easier to, right? It just starts flowing right into that process. You know, and if you're, again, like, you know, you're putting the energy into it of like very little expectation of what this is going to do. Like this video is not going to go viral. This video is going to go viral. Doesn't matter, right? It's just like the video is going to be the one that I feel is most appropriate for what I'm doing right now. I'm going to tell my story. I'm going to put the good energy into it. I'm going to upload it. I'm going to forget about it. Like, you know, and whether it does good or not, it doesn't matter. The next video is going to be important. Go back, read the comments, see what it is that you can do. But that's it. Like,
so good.
It's not, I think people put too much expectation into everything in their life, but this is one of them. Like, you don't have to have that high expectation. I was broke, in debt, had no money, had no reason to talk macroeconomics. There was nothing out there that said this dude is the dude, right? Mm-hmm. You know, he's going to have 152,000 subscribers someday talking macroeconomics. That was not me a few years ago. However, when I did speak, people were like, dude, you know a lot about this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I know, you know. Yeah. And then, so as I started sharing the information, I realized people who really appreciate it don't care where you're, like, they care where you're doing, where you're going. They don't care what happened in the past. You could fall down 1,000,000 times. They're okay with that, right? That's not the problem. The problem that most people feel is that I'm limited. I can't do it because of my past. That's where people are like, nah, not so good. If you don't have any of that limitations, you're not worried about it. Yeah, I was drunk. I was bad shape. I was in debt. I didn't do it right. All these horrible things in my past. Let's move forward, right? People are like, cool, let's do it. You know? That's exactly how the energy is, right? You are your own limitation on everything. Like, you're the one who is saying, yes, I can or can't. Yeah.
Hey, Department fam, wanted to take a brief break from this conversation. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. And the first thing I wanted to talk about is that, did you know that 75% of the people that watch this podcast on YouTube actually aren't subscribed, which is a high chance that you're not subscribed. So number one, I want to say thank you for listening or watching the podcast. And number two, if you can hit that subscribe button, that would be amazing. The second thing is, if you are an entrepreneur, content creator, or somebody looking to make money online, I want to encourage you to come to this online event called the Content to Cash Challenge. This is a special 5-day event that's going to give you access to the system I use in my business to make multiple 6 figures with my content. If you've been desiring to either get your business and brand more exposure, grow a YouTube channel, whatever it is when it comes to video, I would encourage you to jump into the Content to Cash Challenge. We'll be sure to post the link to the challenge down in the show notes or the description. And I want to encourage you to jump into the VIP experience. This will give you access to a 1-hour Q&A call every day of the challenge. This will guarantee myself to answer a personalized question you may have. So I'll see you on the Content to Cash Challenge. Now let's jump back into the conversation. It's really good. And I found that most people think their first like at-bats when making videos or starting their YouTube channels is there's a weird false belief that everyone's going to see this.
Oh yeah.
And the reality
nobody
is,
watches. Yeah,
it's like, I always like to encourage people that this is like literally here and now, even you right now with 150,000 subscribers, this is the least known you'll be. Because as time goes on, as you mature and age, more people discover. Right. And so the thought to think that like I need to show up perfect for my first few videos it's backwards, because like no one's going to see it anyway. But so because you know that this is the least known you'll ever be, now more than ever, just do the thing that comes easy, talk about the thing you want to talk about. And then over time, like you said, refine.
Yeah. And I think actually the idea of trying to make a perfect video or trying to present something that, like you were saying, show the mistakes and within it, people love the rough edges. They don't want something that's perfect. Like if you run perfect every single time you put out a dozen videos that are absolutely perfect, and you were able to catch the attention of people from that, and it was just like, man, you do really good. The moment that you slip a little bit from perfect, right? Because you tried so hard to be there. They're like, man, who is this guy? You know,
Right.
what is that, right? But if you're screwing up, you're like you're saying, sneezing in the middle of the video, something hits the truck in the middle, like, whoa, what was that? You know, and all that stuff, that's what people enjoy. That's what they know, like you were saying, the realness that's within it.
Yep.
You know, up until that point, they're like watching you and it's like, what is it? Wait for the mistake. Wait till he screws up and then we're going to jump all over him. Well, if you screw up from the very beginning, like own it, who cares? You know, then nobody's going to care. You know, it's good. Like, so.
Okay. So you are someone who's like very in tune with what's going on in the economy and things like that.
Yeah.
Like there's this new phrase and it's called the creator economy. What is your insight on this kind of new category that has come into play over the last handful of years?
You know, I can really look at it from my own personal view. I live in one of the most expensive places in the entire country. Astoria is the 10th most expensive places to live per capita, people 10 to 50,000 population, right? So I live in a very expensive town. It wasn't always that way. It was a working class town when I grew up there, but it like evolved into something different. We have a lot of medical district, remote workers, retirement, you know, vacation kind of things going on. So all the properties have become very expensive.
Is there good golf where you're at?
What's that?
Is there good golf?
I wouldn't say it was good golf, but it's popular. You know, so yeah, I'm not a golfer, so I wouldn't know. But you know, but yeah, it's popular there. So, but when I think about like the creator economy, I was in a position in which that I was not doing well, right? I mean, I was suffering bad. I put myself into debt. I was drinking. I was just like, nothing was going well. Right? YouTube absolutely changed everything for me when I got the ad revenue in. And like, when I'm talking like when the ad revenue came in, I'm talking like, you know, when I would make $10 on a video, I was just like, wow, whoa, if I do this every day, I could have like $300. You know, I'd be like, that's a lot, you know, like to me, that was just like, you know, it was like a lot of money. Yeah. We don't have any money. $300 is a lot, you know? And so as the content started to pay off more and it really started to elevate up, I noticed like nobody can compete with me, right? All my buddies, everybody else who's wanting to buy a house, all this other stuff, they are not even going to come close to be able to compete with what I can do with this other income that's coming in. And it's not like I was feeling like macho or big or something like that because of it. I actually felt somewhat of an imposter syndrome from it. It was just like, I don't deserve this. This isn't right. This isn't the way it should be. And so, but understanding that, you know, hey, when you put out the effort, you get rewarded for it, and started embracing, okay, hey, I can make this money. I realized I wouldn't be able to buy a house here if I didn't have this.
Wow.
Right. So like the content creator economy, I think like, well, how many other people out there? Like I know there's a TikToker in my town. I don't know him personally, but he does pretty well at it, or did for a while when TikTok was. So anyway, so I'm thinking, well, how many people are out there like us who are getting this extra ad revenue, who can now afford the apartments, afford the stuff that's going on there? So it's actually creating a situation in which that the separation between the rich and the poor can actually become more prevalent, considering how easy it is to actually make money off of the creating content for just somebody who didn't have to go to school, didn't have to do all the business, didn't have to do all these other things. You can just literally put out a video, boom, you're making money, you know?
Yep.
So I see that like the overall macroeconomics of it is actually going to be pretty devastating for the people, in the sense that when new money comes into the system, it separates the rich and the poor. So this is actually going to add to the inequality that's going to happen out there. The awesome part about it is that everybody has the opportunity to jump in and go do this. So don't like think that you're excluded from this opportunity.
Right.
But if you don't do something, you're going to get left behind.
Yeah.
And, you know, content creation is so easy. It is so easy. Like the hard part, I think, for most people to get past is like the importance of it. Like, I need to do this to make money. I was like, no, you don't. You just need to put out and make good videos. That's it. The rest of it will take care of itself, you know? And so, yeah, to me, like that content creator, and it's not just content creator. I think it's just like all these new ways of making money online. Yeah.
It's almost like holding the economy. I mean, that's the thing I imagine, you know, we're in Las Vegas and the housing market has just slowly, even with inflation, it's still ticking up where it's, but it's just because there's just people making new money.
That's right.
It's not traditional.
Right. So you have supply and demand, Right? You have a demand side, you have supply side. Well, if the supply side stays somewhat stagnant, like you got to build houses or there's only so many available, but then all of a sudden all this demand starts increasing because people have access to money, right? Well, then that's going to cause the prices to move up no matter what you do. Well, if the demand increases faster than the supply, that's going to be a continuous thing that goes on. Well, the content creator economy is getting bigger and bigger. So I can't imagine the demand slowing down.
Right. So good. Hey, question for you. Are you somebody who is looking to start creating content, or maybe you currently create content, but all the gear and the tech just overwhelms you? If so, I wanted to let you know about our sponsor for this podcast, Ulanzi. Whether you're creating content with your smartphone, a camera, or just trying to take your Zoom calls to the next level, Ulanzi has everything you need to make your setup look and sound professional. I've been using their gear myself, and honestly, it's been a complete game changer for my content. You can check them out at ulanzi.com/Omar, and we've got some amazing picks for you. And also, if you look at the description below, we have a special promo code that will give you 12% off your entire order. Big thanks to Ulanzi for sponsoring this episode and helping us create. What are you doing to set yourself up, like, wealth-wise?
So this is kind of funny. A lot of people think about like economists and investors being like kind of the same thing, but they're not. There's two different classes of people here. We talk the same language. We look at the same things. We kind of have the same feelings and stuff like that. But the investor does things so much differently than an economist does. The economist is really like neither here nor there on the whole thing, right? It's just like up, down, sideways, doesn't make any difference. I'm just here to see what is going on and describe what it is that I'm seeing. The investor was just like, what is this going to do? Right? What is this going to mean for the future? And what is it going to happen? How can I increase my wealth from it and stuff? So it makes it difficult to be like the economist without like falling into like what is going to happen, investor mentality.
Because I would imagine investors are even watching your content, like investors, getting insight.
Investors, real estate agents, everybody, right? I mean, builders, they all watch my content. Even people who aren't into investing, just working class people just want to know what's going on. So me personally, I look at it in a very broad way, right? I expose myself to everything. I don't have the skill sets, the ideas, the know-how, everything else to be a rental landlord like these guys are in my area. I want to do that. I'm having a difficult time.
Sure.
But it doesn't mean I can't get into real estate, and I bought my own house to live in, right? So there is some exposure to the real estate market by just simply buying a house to live in, right?
Correct.
Now, if I wanted to increase that more without necessarily going and buying property, well, now I can start buying into real estate investment trust or expose myself to ETFs of some sort that have some kind of exposure to real estate and taking that mindset. I'm not going to be necessarily the landlord, but I want to be exposed to real estate. So I'm going to invest towards real estate. And it's so easy to do that because you can simply do it with a Cash App or something like that. You just go and buy the stocks that you want. So I take that kind of attitude towards it. Yes, I would like to someday be a property owner with rental properties. That is some kind of goal in my future. But considering what I'm going through right now and where I'm at, it's not really in my cards. I don't really want to play the game or take the energy to do it, but I do want to continue to expose myself to real estate. So I do that. I have very little expectations coming from cryptocurrency. But I've been following cryptocurrencies for so long and it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. And it's more popularity and the more the network effect grows within cryptocurrencies, I can only imagine it becoming a very popular item. So I speculate in cryptos, right? Dollar cost average, $50 every other week, once a month. Very, very casual, way of going about that. Mm-hmm. And doing that for the years that I have, I've collected almost half a Bitcoin. Well, that does pretty good when it runs up to 100,000. Like, holy crap, man, that was nice to watch happen. Something totally unexpected. So again, like I exposed myself to the crypto market. Then I went into stocks. I buy a few stocks, bonds, right? And then also increasing the skills that I would have in case there was a shortfall in income or the economy slows down, falls, crashes, whatever. Knowing how to have the skill sets of networking with other people that do things that you don't know how to do. Like if you don't know how to build, right, then you better be friends with somebody who knows how to build. So if something happens, you can repair your house or whatever. My wife is awesome at canning, right? Literally taking food, putting it in a jar, putting the lid on it, put it in the boiler, preserving it in that fashion, sits on the shelf for years, right? She's really good at that. Like you can bring her 100 pounds of anything. I don't care if it's fish or carrots or whatever. And she'll be like, yep, no problem. Boom. End of the day, it's in jars in the pantry, preserved for years. That's a pretty cool skill to have if you ever ran into a situation where there was like a complete collapse of the economy, right? Not that I think that that would ever happen, but being prepared for something like that then gives you the ability to not even worry about it anymore,
Yeah.
right? You know? And so this is really where I think I look at my investment is to just get into many different things, to expose yourself to all those different things so that, you know, if any one issue ever took place inside of real estate, well, you got your gold, you got your silver that can hopefully hold on to some value. And, you know, if crypto actually takes off, hey, there was a cool position to be in. But like a lot of these ideas of like, you know, really making it rich comes down to putting everything into one thing.
Good.
Right. And
Yep.
so if you're really going to like, you know, if you're going to excel to the highest, it all comes down to putting everything into one thing. Right. So like for me, if I was to do something like that, it would probably be myself. You know, try to, I don't build the business up with books or conferences or something and go that route with it to get that money to come in. That's the way I look at things. You know,
it's really
it's
good.
like it's very broad, you know,
it's very broad. However, the greatest investment you can make is in yourself.
Absolutely.
Because
like I can't think of anything else better. Like, I mean, even now it's just like, if you had this much money, what would you do? And I'd be like, well, I'd probably start setting up those conferences or whatever, trying to move on that fashion. Like, I can't think of a single investment that I would drop it into. If there's like, hey, divvy it up, and I just divvy it up into everything that I already got, you know? And so.
Cool, dude. Simon, I appreciate you. Thanks for being on. Problem. This was really a enlightening conversation.
Thank you.
And I think what it probably did, that I know it did, was give people the permission to just go out and create. And I just steal his format. Go in your car.
Yeah,
it's
literally.
Great sound treatment, by the way. Like,
yeah, people ask me all the time. I was like, why do you do it in your car? It was just like, I don't think people realize how awesome of a sound studio a car really is. It's like the upholstery absorbs all the echo. Like it's like a wonderful studio for recording it.
Yeah. And the lighting's coming in, big light coming in, which is great. So yeah, I appreciate you. And I just love having watched your journey, seeing what you've gotten. And
I appreciate you.
I really hope that even 2x, 5x what's happening on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank you. That was fun.
Awesome.